pretty good.
Great song.
He has more than one good song.
No, make songs, but MC, I'm a wordsmith.
He has an all-time
I'm about
classic
lyricism.
album. He does.
He made really good songs.
Get Rich
Well,
or Die
that's the
Trying
point.
was an
But
iconic
skills,
album of the year.
lyrical
Drew
skills.
is mad about a complex list
Live
that
from New York.
likely came out
Top 50
2
rappers
years
in
ago.
New York, Jadakiss is 16. Stop it.
Well, that's
He's
too
better than
low
that.
for Jadakiss.
That's too low.
I
That's it.
agree.
You know,
But they're
Jadakiss is
top
Can I tell you
five.
something?
I'm about
Legit.
real
the top
MCing.
five, if the top five was Jay-Z, Biggie, Nas, Rakim,
top
5 through
five is
12
okay.
is fluid. 5 through
It's not
That's
fluid.
KW, right there.
That's fluid.
That's really good.
That's fluid. Nicki
He got
Minaj
you,
sometimes
bro.
is here.
Bro,
Jadakiss
you
is
just
here.
got to take it.
It's
He
fluid.
got you.
That was a nice one. I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Good one,
First,
KW.
first things first. We're starting with the awkward numbers. 73-year-old coach, 24-year-old friend,
No, significant other,
Well, I don't know.
girlfriend,
48 points allowed.
sweetheart.
Twice as many points.
Bill Barnwell noting in 511 games as a pro, Belichick never gave up 48 points in one night. He did. Too soon to panic. Just one game, but it was ugly.
If only Matt Patricia's fancy schemes were there for Bill Belichick last night.
It looked nothing like Match Patricia's defense.
Because it's a player sport. And we do college sports in particular, there is a lot of coach worship and not enough player, attaboys, if you will. The most important thing a college coach can do is recruit, is get the players. And under the new paradigm of NIL and transfer portal, you can, in theory, do it quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's no longer, you can't judge a college football coach till year 3 because that's when he gets his players in. And Belichick last night did not appear to have the horses and did not appear to have as his old offensive coordinator Charlie Weiss once said when he left New England to go to Notre Dame, a decided tactical advantage. Instead, it was a good first drive, and then they got dog-walked the whole night. And I think they have major problems now. I don't think they know who their quarterback is. I think that
it's not Gio Lopez.
Well, it certainly doesn't look like it's Gio
goodness.
Lopez, and the kid who came in, Max Johnson.
He's probably going to be.
He's probably going to be the guy, but he's a great story. But he suffered a catastrophic, horrifying injury last year. They clearly wanted it to be Gio Lopez. They thought it was going to be Gio Lopez, and that team did not look buttoned up. And I don't want to, bang on them too much, but it is fair to ask, over the last half decade, has Belichick's ability to evaluate talent deteriorated? The Patriots draft classes and who's left on the roster would say yes. Over the last half decade, has Belichick gotten more distracted by off-field endeavors? It's fair to ask, and it looked like it last night, up to and including in the pregame, when Jordan Hudson was talking to him on the sideline when he's got the headset on. And Bill Belichick, I will defend Belichick's, and not that I think it should need defending, career with the Patriots in total, with the one exception being, has Bill Belichick ever been a great quarterback evaluator? I don't know the answer to that. Now, the Tom Brady piece of it is tricky because they did draft him and keep him on the roster, but it's also the only quarterback decision he had to make for 20 years once he made it. And
he was seemingly, or toward the end at least, trying to replace
him too early. And I don't want to argue about Mac Jones. I think that was a miss, and I think his other quarterbacking decisions there were a miss. And again, going into this year, he clearly thought Gio Lopez gives us a better chance than Max Johnson, and too early to say what that plays out as. But KW, their projected win total as of this morning is now 5.5. So they're in real trouble. I don't think it's too soon to panic brew about this season for North Carolina.
It's not too soon to panic. If we had a panic button, I would be hitting it. I should have thought about that earlier.
We had it, but we rejiggered it to an F game button.
Yeah. Look, F game would be appropriate too. Obviously, that was an F game. I think it's not too soon to panic now, and for his tenure there, however long it lasts. This was TCU. The best thing, obviously, for Bill Belichick is if this TCU team runs off like a couple years ago and gets to the national championship game or at least the playoff, right? And then you're like, oh my gosh, okay, they were a good team. That's not likely, I don't think. They're a top 40 team. 40, not top 25. And they treated Belichick's team like it was an FCS pancake that you brought in to give them a chance to make some money.
Except it was in UNC's building.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So that is number one. Secondly, I don't want to hear, Belichick is a legend. And I'm not here to rain on his legendary parade, if you will. What he has accomplished, I have called him the GOAT. He's recognized as the GOAT, at least in the Super Bowl era, if you want, before Vince Lombardi or after Vince Lombardi. I'm fine with that. He's won 6 Super Bowls, which is as much as any other franchise. All right, so I have no problem saying he's a GOAT. I'm not about to rain on that. But it seemed like I heard a lot of people talking about 70 new players. What'd you expect? Deion Sanders 2 years ago had 86 new players against a TCU team coming off a championship game appearance and beat them. And coming from Jackson State. So I don't want to hear about the 70 new players. And then here, let me sum it up in one sentence for North Carolina fans why you should be panicking. Tom Brady is not walking through that door. All right? And look, Bill Belichick, like I said, I'm not taking anything away from him.
But you're about to.
But
this
is just a fact.
If you start talking about Bernie Kosar.
He has not won anything of significance without Tom Brady. Look at his regular season win percentage. 45% without Tom Brady. He's made the playoffs 2 times in 11 seasons without Tom Brady. All right? And he's 1-2 in those playoff games. I mean, it is what it is. Tom Brady, and I give Belichick a lot of credit for helping to discovering Tom Brady.
And how about for all
and
the
that
Super
defense.
Bowls? And
like I said, the 6 Super Bowls, you can't diminish that at all. He is an awesome defensive mind, last night notwithstanding. And those great defenses until Brady became great in his own right, individually. Belichick was there and getting it done.
But even their last Super Bowl, Brew,
Brady didn't do much offensive.
It was 13-3. They shut down Todd Gurley and Sean McVay. So that's the part.
But it's something about, he had Drew Bledsoe. And they were 5-11.
I think that's
and then 0-2 to start the season. And then Brady, they start winning immediately with Brady.
Too small of a sample to read anything into it, especially because it's not like Bledsoe after that left and was great again.
No, but he was a Pro Bowl level quarterback. He was a $100 million quarterback which was big.
So that's the part that I can't listen. I think those of us that were there for it, and you included, know those first 5 years with Tom. Belichick's defense was the star.
Huge part, no question.
And Tom was turning into a great player who was always clutch. So I don't want to, revisit that. I don't think we have to revisit that, KW, to say, hey, forget how he was, how he's been for this decade.
Correct.
The 2020s, from talent evaluation decisions, coaching staff decisions, keeping his kids on the staff, that stuff with Jordan Hudson is weird. And I'm not even saying it's weird because of the age gap. That's separate. Here's what's weird. That he was fine with her trying to, or in tandem with her, days before the season started, hey, new trademarks in the hopper. One of them's Gold Digger. Do we think that helps or hurts North Carolina's ability to stay focused? That's weird. That is not in line with anything Belichick has told us he's about.
So that's where I'm in a tough spot, and you predicted it, that I was going to give you a fair analysis of the game. But if Bruce started to bring up Bernie Kosar
he was going to get mad.
The Cleveland Browns
Bernie was fine until Belichick
I was going to get fired up, but here's where I landed. I will defend the old Belichick.
Yes.
The older Belichick is tougher to defend.
Yes.
So, and I think you made a good point about players, and maybe they don't have the talent on North Carolina right now that TCU has. That being said, Dusty, can we show just the last night graphic of just the raw data here. Look at total yards. 542 for TCU and 222 for North Carolina. It's the biggest difference in a Week 1 Power 4 matchup since 2019. So unless you have an all-time talent deficit, I do put it more on coaching and rather than the lack of players. So that's the hardcore data numbers. Here's the fuzzy thing that made me just lose my brain. Dusty, this is, and we showed the tight shot of his press conference.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's
not his fault.
Light years.
I don't know that it's
What can he? I mean, I guess he could have said, "Look, no balloons." I get okay.
He could have said no balloons.
Yeah,
he could have said, "You know what? Just round balloons. Can we lose the stars?" This was someone else's idea, and for someone that had a stranglehold on all decision making with the Patriots, someone that left New England because he wanted that decision because the Patriots executives started to come in and be like, "Hey, can we switch out the defensive coordinator for offensive coordinator?" And that angered him. And he's been taking shots at the Crafts, saying there's no owner's son, no cap, everything that goes, we're better off controlling it. And he does something like that. That's after they lost, bro. And there's no one in the building that says, "Hey, what if we lose?"
Well, or by the way,
Do we wanna take
they
these
didn't
down?
lose on a last-second field goal.
No,
for them
there's
not to
nobody.
take
You gotta be pulling those out.
After the opening play of
I
the
agree.
second half, it's like, all right, balloons down, boys.
It just shows a lack of attention.
Hurry up!
But that used to matter. The signage used to matter.
absolutely.
We're not talking about the old Super
And
Bowls.
also, Brew, there has been, it's not overstated to call it hubris from Belichick's right-hand man, not Jordan Hudson, my old podcast partner back in the day, Mike Lombardi, who has been in lockstep with Belichick on this, saying, we're going to be the 33rd NFL team. You know what I mean? Talking about what they are going to do. Here is, if we are trying to find, if you're a Carolina fan, I guess the silver lining. The odds of Bill Belichick being your head coach next season just went up dramatically. Because the only way he wasn't going to be was if it went so well that he bolted.
NFL team.
You know what I mean? I think a great season for the Tar Heels is off the board. I think a good season is unlikely. And now I look at it the same way I looked at Deion the first year at TCU. Or I'm sorry,
that
Colorado,
was still a
which
success,
obviously,
though.
right? It was, and he was taking over the worst team in college football. They just trying to get to 6 wins.
They're a bowl team.
Right.
They've been a bowl team.
North Carolina, and that's now, to me, the ceiling. The ceiling is now
it's 6
7
wins.
wins. I think the
that
ceiling is
would
7
be,
wins.
looking at what they looked like last night, that would be great.
Quickly, here's the schedule. You got Charlotte coming up.
Well, the next 3 are
If they don't, which one? Richmond is a
Charlotte,
UCF is going to
Yeah.
put
UCF's probably
points on
going
the
to put
board.
something on them.
Clemson, Cal, Virginia, Syracuse.
Clemson.
So I looked this up, if you guys can.
No, go.
Cal, Clemson, Duke, and Virginia, who are on their schedule, are all right now projected for more than 5.5 wins. I just did it based on, you know what I mean, that. NC State and Syracuse are projected the same number of wins as them, 5.5. And Wake and Stanford, I didn't know what happened to Stanford. Stanford's projected to win 2.5 games. So like that's just the ACC games. So if you think they can go 2-1 in their next 3 against their non-con opponents,
They
you beat
better.
Wake, you beat Stanford. You know what I mean? That's how you get to 6.
The bloom is off the rose.
Of course.
When Deion had the TCU win, and celebrities were there, and
He
it was
also had a star
fun.
quarterback.
And Travis.
Oh,
Yeah.
what is he though?
More
Well,
of a
no,
fifth round draft?
No, but he was a star college quarterback, bro.
But this is not going to trend like, hey, do you want to come not win and not have fun?
Oh, you mean as far as getting other players?
Right,
yeah,
right.
That part's true
It's
too.
going to trend in the wrong
And you
direction.
would have thought he would have got better players in there, being that he's Bill Belichick. And I don't want to belabor this, and let's move on. But everything you guys said, the past half decade, and you
Is post
right? What's the common denominator? Brady wasn't there. Soon as he left, it went south.
I have a great Brady take I've been saving.
Okay.
Would you like to hear it?
Yeah.
I don't know if this is true, and I'll have to ask Tom Brady next time I talk to him. Also, the first time I talked to him. That perhaps Brady, rather than they had a falling out and this and that, wasn't supporting. my new take is, as my phone falls, my new take is perhaps Brady, expert at seeing the field, diagnosing,
saw that he was
losing his fastball before anybody else. And it was chalked up to personal and power and ego. It's like, you know what? You're not the same guy from 15 years ago. Everyone's just saying I changed. Like, actually, you're not the same guy.
That's a really good take. And let me just, as a guy who's a professional takesman, you don't have enough really good takes to save any. When the first time you have that, fire it. Don't keep it in the chamber for weeks or months later.
I had to wait for predictions weeks to pass.
Like, just get that out there.
Don't ration them out.
Exactly. Just use them, buddy.
Moving on. Jalen Hurts looking to get back to the Super Bowl. Diana Rossini reporting that Hurts has a newfound confidence now that he's a Super Bowl champion, while Jalen's new OC acknowledges that the Eagles need to spread the ball around a little bit. Could this be a problem for Philadelphia?
I don't think so at all.
Really?
Not one iota. Because I don't think getting A.J. Brown his touches, Saquon Barkley his touches, I don't think that's going to ever trump winning. I don't think they're going to do that at the expense of winning because so-and-so's making a lot of noise in the locker room. I also think their leader, Jalen Hurts, has added credibility now. Like, it was one thing for A.J. Brown to call him out last year when they hadn't won the Super Bowl. And even though Jalen played well, he did make the big mistake that may have cost him the game and all that against Kansas City. So that was one thing. If he calls Jalen Hurts out this year, it's like, he just led y'all to a Super Bowl.
But AJ's a champion. It's not like AJ's not a champion.
Yeah, but still, he's not the quarterback. And the quarterback was the MVP of the Super Bowl. And every time they challenged Jalen, let's see if he can throw, he answered, including in the Super Bowl. So I just think he's got a level of credibility now. And Nick, I think it's smart for this, particularly a new offensive coordinator, to say, like, that's understandable. These guys are great. If A.J. Brown wants his numbers, and I understand it. Devontae Smith wants some numbers. Saquon wants to be a Hall of Famer. I get it. If you're average, you're just a solid player, yeah, the numbers aren't as big because you just want to be on the team, be a part of the team, contribute. When you have star ability, you want to put up star numbers. So I think understanding that is good.
So I'd be nervous about everything about A.J. Brown this year. All of it. And I don't think the whole we won the Super Bowl so everything is fine is and in fact, Philly is so adamant that they didn't win the Super Bowl. They're not even going to be on the field to watch the banner drop. It's the next year. So I don't even know how much that satiates it. And I do think, I understand some things are media creations. A.J. Brown being so annoyed, we knew the story of the author of his book he was reading during the games was not a media creation. And this, where the history gets a little fuzzy, is when A.J. spoke after the Carolina game, it was like passing game needs to get better. It was not Philadelphia was boat racing people just running the ball. They were coming off a Carolina game that they barely won before Carolina had all of a sudden looked like a good team. Jalen had thrown the ball 21 times for 108 yards. And AJ was annoyed. And then Brandon Graham came out and was like, yeah, I don't know what happened. They used to be friends. Now somebody wasn't in somebody's wedding, or it was not fake. Then they have the Pittsburgh game, and Jalen throws for 290, but then he gets hurt. And then in the playoffs, here's A.J. Brown's numbers in the 4 playoff games. So here's why I bring this up. Let's say, just for the sake of argument, Stafford doesn't get sacked on that 3rd and 2 with 30 seconds left and throws a touchdown. And they win. I think it's on the board. A.J. Brown's on a different team. I think, you know what I mean? Like, if it had ended like that and they're not champions, right? It was, to me, he was reading the book during the playoff run.
He likes reading the book.
Okay. And
I think there's something to that.
Okay.
I have the book. It's a good book.
Okay, I had dinner with the author. I'm not against the book. But then it all gets fixed by the you know what I mean? The next 2 games, they blow everyone out. They win the Super Bowl. Jalen plays great. AJ gets his numbers, all of it. I just think and I think the offensive coordinator is speaking to this. I'm not worried about Jalen thinking I've got to get my numbers. I'm not worried about Saquon. I'm not worried about Devontae Smith. I I do think A.J. Brown is an X factor for this team, and I don't think we have evidence that for him, as long as we win, man, that's all that matters. I don't think that's how, I think there are a lot of great athletes that wouldn't be great athletes if that's how they were wired. You know what I mean? It's about winning your matchup, dominating, showing how great you are. And I don't think that makes you selfish in the traditional sense. And so it's just something, KW, that I think is, if we look back and say, oh, wow, why did the Eagles go 11-6 and lose early in the playoffs? I would imagine something like this would be the most likely reason other than injury. That's all. I don't think that's unfair.
Well, that's going to be interesting. Like, if they lose in the playoff, don't get to the Super Bowl, which is likely.
Of course.
Is it going to be viewed as because there was infighting? And they may come out and say something, so, we may know. But that's what's
or if
something
it
to
doesn't,
watch.
Does Jalen Hurts get credit?
What do you mean?
If they get to the Super Bowl?
I think it's I think Jalen Hurts has a lot of does a lot of invisible work. And you can see it like post Super Bowl celebration, jokes aside. He came up to Devontae and he was gave him a hug and he's like, you deserve this. And it was I was like, oh, this is real leadership from the quarterback team. Not totally dissimilar to Mahomes one, and gave a high five to every person in the Chiefs organization in the locker room. Oh, you're doing some real CEO stuff right now. And I feel like the fact that we saw a little brush fire pop up and Jalen Hurts was able to tamp it down and move forward. If it doesn't swell up again, I feel like perhaps he deserves credit for that.
So I think Jalen Hurts is universally at this point regarded as an excellent leader.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That I think the questions about Jalen Hurts start and end with how good of a passer is he, and everything else I feel like he gets somewhere from an A to an A+. You know what I mean? In toughness, availability, leadership, all those things.
I have one other good thing.
Yeah.
You remember we talked about this? Malik Neighbors had the highest target share.
Yeah.
They were just always throwing in the ball. Guess who has the second highest target share?
Oh, A.J. Brown.
It's A.J. Brown.
That's
now, they don't throw it a lot, but he gets it a lot.
Right.
So it's an interesting case of if he were to complain, man, you get it. Well, we're not throwing it a lot. It's not like a Jamar T thing, not like there's a thing between them.
It's not that.
But you are getting it. When we're throwing it, you're getting it.
Right. It's that they don't throw it enough for.
But we're not going to change the whole
offense. I like to see
offense.
where does he rank in targets in the league?
Low.
He top 15?
The lower.
Moderately low.
Yeah. Lower than he is as far as where he ranks.
Look, I do understand it to a degree. If I was a great receiver like him, I want the ball. I got my Super Bowl.
7.5 last year, 9 the year before.
Yeah, no, so he's
not super high.
Yeah, but you're right. When they throw it to him.
Yeah.
They just don't throw it that much.
Devontae is a good receiver.
Guess what else? Devontae is 8 in target share. Jamar Chase is 9.
It also might be.
This is interesting. I'm out here cooking here with these stats.
Of why maybe a team like
end.
Baltimore has never really prioritized the star receiver. Because they know a star receiver's not going to be happy. Like a star, you know what I mean? Like that.
Lamar,
we're not going to throw the ball that much. You know what I mean? And Lamar's a better passer than Jalen.
What was he? 30th, Josh? 30th in targets.
30th in targets. Like that's a tough one.
I would break out the second in share.
Percentage. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.